if you're an insurance agent, tracking your new business pipeline is massively important. One, it allows you to know and forecast where you're going to be in sales. And two, it lets you know where your operational drags are. Where are you really good inside of the agency, and where do you need to hire people or add systems or processes, whatever it may be. I see a lot of agencies get this wrong, and we get asked about it all the time at Agency A. How do we set up our pipeline? What stages should we have? How do we track this? What needs to be there? What doesn't need to be there? So, in this video, we're going to cover exactly that. We're going to outline exactly what stages you need to have in your new business pipeline, and then some ideas for automations and things that may go there. Keep in mind that this is not a perfect list for everyone. This is just what I've seen for most agencies that we work with. It's what works. And so this is the process that we have followed, and I hope it is helpful and beneficial to you. So we will get into it. The first stage is probably not going to be as a surprise. I just call it new leads. So anytime somebody fills out a lead form or reaches out to your agency, we add them in a new leads pipeline. One of the pieces that I make sure of here is everything enters the new leads pipeline from a form. So either they filled out a form on our website, or they reached out to us and a virtual assistant or a team member in an office fills out the form to actually add the people here. And so our process is to make sure that every time that form gets filled out, it is brought into this stage using Zapier or using some type of automation. But that makes sure that it looks the same every time, that it pulls over and it's formatted the right way every single time. And it allows for easy tracking. So if everything is going into this stage from forms, you can have it also go into a spreadsheet and let you know how many times people are filling these out. And at the end of the month, you can see here's how many quote requests we had this month. Are we higher or lower than last month? And where are we on track for our target goals? And so the next stage, I'm actually going to go ahead and give you two of them. So number 3 is going to be quoting, and number 2 is going to be need info. And so by having these together, it makes a little more sense. So if it is a form that your team fills out, you're probably going to have pretty much everything you need. And so it's going to move to the quoting stage. If you don't, if it's just a form on your site that's a lot more limited, it's a lot shorter just because you're trying to gather contact information, you probably need more info. So the person that actually drags this lead between these two stages, for myself and most of the agencies we work with, it's going to be a virtual assistant. So it is your person inside your office that's actually running the quotes. So they go into the lead form in whatever CRM you're using. Most of our people are using Agency Zoom. So you go into that specific lead in the pipeline, and they're looking at, do I have the information I need to actually run this quote? If it's yes, they move it to the quoting tab. So it is assigned to a CSR. You can see who's quoting it. You can see all that's going on with it. And you know that you're going to have a completed quote here in the next 30 minutes to an hour. If you don't have everything you need, they move it to the needs info tab. And I typically set up automation here so that if there's an assigned producer, it emails the producer and says, hey, we started working on your quote, but we need some more information. Please touch base with the client. And typically the virtual assistant will leave notes inside that lead in the CRM and let you know, hey, here's the pieces of information I need to actually get a quote for this client. So again, most state producer laws, a licensed producer has to be the one that gathers the information and presents the information. So if it's something super basic and you know exactly what it is, you could have a virtual assistant send an email, hey, can you verify this address for me, or something like that. But it really needs to be a licensed individual if they're going through a full fact finding to try and find all the other pieces necessary to run a quote. So number 4 probably isn't going to be any surprise. As soon as the quote is finished, you move it to the quoted tab. So this will send an email, the automation triggers to send an email again to the producer on file for that lead that says, hey, your quote for client name is finished. Go check it out and send it to them. And so the way that I recommend everybody do this is whoever's running your quote, be it a VA or CSR, have them upload all of the finished PDFs. Typically, I have my people bridge over. I have them actually pull clue reports and everything to make sure it is a final bindable quote, and then upload all of them into the CRM. Now, obviously, if there's some carriers that are just way off, you can exclude them. You don't have to finish all of them, but at least your top three, go ahead and finish those quotes, because when you pull the reports, we all have seen quotes that we've ran really change after those reports. And so get those three finished. And then I have typically will have virtual assistants make a spreadsheet for every client, list all the quotes there, and will highlight the best one. That way, your producer can go in, they can very quickly see, okay, which quote is the best, which one should I use? And now it's going to be up to you whether they get on the phone with the client, whether they get a Zoom, whether they record a Loom video and send it to your client, whatever your process is, you follow that. This just helps you keep track of quotes in progress. Then we have got presented. So this is going to be your producer presented the quote to the client, and you are waiting on the client to make a decision. Hopefully, if they are on a phone call with the client, they're going to get the bind request right then and there, and they can go ahead and move it to sold. But if not, we're going to have the presented tab. Okay. And so that kind of leads us to our next pieces. We've got sold and we have got X date. So these are the two final destinations for these leads. So presented is where it finishes before it goes on two paths, one of which is going to be you sold it and you are onboarding this client into your agency, or you added this new piece of business for an existing client. And then the other is going to be, we did not win this client, but let's try again next year. And you move them to an X date campaign so that you can try to win this client back here in some later date in the future. And so that is how I recommend most people set up their new business pipeline inside of their agency. Again, there's going to be things that are different. If you do a lot of non-standard business or agency bill, there could potentially be extra steps here. You need to make sure that the bills are sent and that everything's set up in your AMS. Now, maybe that goes into your onboarding pipeline. I don't know. Everybody's going to do it differently. But for the average agency, this handles everything. And if nothing else, it at least gives you a framework to start thinking about or understanding how to think about building out your new business pipeline. So if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. We will make sure to get to it. Other than that, I hope you liked and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.